Today I choose to follow you.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, the 6th of December, and this is Coffee with God. So I've got an awesome lungo here this morning. Nice sweet crema. John 1 verse 14, Johannes 1 verse 14. I want to just share a couple of thoughts from this with you. And the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us. And it goes on to say, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Now, a couple of things I want to pull out here. The first is, you know that God revealed himself through the prophets and through the law and through the fathers, the spiritual fathers. And now in the last days, he revealed himself through Jesus Christ, his son. The perfect example and image of himself in the flesh. But what I want to focus on, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Now, the Word is Jesus Christ, but the Word is also the Word of God, the Bible. And we're told that we need to, Jesus Christ, the Word became flesh, that we flesh might become Word. And what's interesting, the Word became flesh. It became real. It became tangible. It became something that made sense and you could live it. It wasn't just a Sunday school sermon. It wasn't just a Sunday school lesson. It wasn't just a sermon on a Sunday. It wasn't just a Bible study. But the Word became flesh. It became something that we could take and use every single day. It was lived out. It became flesh. It became something that was very, very real. And people could see the Word in flesh form and dwelt among us. And that's what's so important as well. We have so many Christians these days who are part of the secret service. You see them in church on a Sunday, but you don't see them again. You don't hear them. You don't see them interacting with other people as the Word. You kind of wonder whether they really are Christians, because they don't dwell. The Word doesn't dwell in them, and they don't dwell amongst people. They isolate themselves. They mean nothing to nobody around them. They live for themselves. They work for themselves. They think about themselves. They order and organize their lives around themselves. They don't take anyone else into consideration. And you wonder at this statement, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, so that we could see the glory of the Father. And what's interesting, how do you know that you've seen the Father? How do you know that someone is living the Word, is making this Word alive, is making this real and tangible and applicable to life? Because they approach life filled with grace and truth. Genade en waarheid is die kentekens van 'n persoon wat die woord uitleef. As die woord hulle gegryp het, dan gaan dit nie oor hulle, dit gaan oor genade. Wat is genade? Genade is om vir die ander persoon iets te gee en hulle te help en hulle krag te gee en hulle moed te gee en hulle die geleentheid te gee om te leef dit wat hulle nie verdien het nie, om te leef. So it's doing for other people before they deserve it. It's trying to bring the best out and be the best and arrange that the best is experienced in the other person before they've even asked or done anything to deserve that kind of grace. And then truth. Speaking the truth in love, speaking the truth out, living the truth. I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and we were saying here in the valley, it's so sad that even though it's a small place and everyone almost knows everyone else's business, so many people live with such deep, dark secrets, things that have ripped their families and hurt them, and and they live with it, and they live past it, and they never expose it, and they never bring it out into the truth, and the truth sets free. So someone who is becoming the Word and is flesh and lives among other people is someone who you see, they just live openly and they live freely. They answer every call, unless it's spam. They answer every call. There's nothing to hide. There's no secrets. And after having spent time in their presence, you feel just somehow a little bit lifted. You feel just somehow a little bit blessed. Because I imagine that's what it would be like to be in the presence of God the Father. Even though He's almighty and all-knowing and all-powerful and all everything, I think when you spend a bit of time in His presence, He gets the glory, but you feel good. You feel lifted. You feel built up. You feel you're like walking on a cloud. Come on, Christians. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Let's carry on this week and this Christmas time. What's the good news of Christmas? That Jesus Christ has come, and to give us life in abundance, to enable us to become Word-based, and as we live real lives, people will experience grace and truth in us, through us, and in our presence. Isn't that awesome? Come have a cup of coffee, man. Let's grace and truth one another. Have a wonderful Tuesday.